We open on a scene of vast space, endless galaxies beyond our own. Clouds of astral dust float into frame, poisonous to the lungs, but diamonds to our eyes. Now we pan down to a gray earth. These last sparks of life are faded. Trash circles the once marvelous planet. We zoom into skyscrapers, much taller than the buildings they surround, but made with paper and plastics rather than stone and glass. This is WALL-E, a story that foretells a massacre in the making, told from the eyes of an innocent robot who learns to love, and in a way, becomes more human than the actual humans shown later on. After learning of the true nature of what he is, a disheartened Buzz walks toward a railing where he sees a window seal. As he notices the opportunity to escape from the monster Sid, he climbs the rail. Buzz activates his wing and jumps. This is Toy Story, a tale about a toy who feels out of place and doesn't accept himself as what he is, until he sees and felt it for himself, in the worst way possible. Hector plays a song for an old friend. They reminisce of old times in the land of the dead. Chicharron thanks Hector for the song. And after moments of peace, Chicharron fades away as he has been forgotten. Hector raises a glass for a friend. This is Coco, a story about family, death, and betrayal. It explores the ideas of memory and life in the land of the dead. A beautiful place in a constant state of celebration, but for the ones who are nearly forgotten, a quiet land where you may reminisce of your life, since no one would in the land of the living. I'd like to welcome you to Pixar Animation Studios, where dreams, toys, and eventually all of humanity comes to die. Does that sound harsh? Well, think back to your favorite Pixar movies. Pixar is a homicidal sociopath. Pixar 2, for example. They heartlessly rip off Woody's arm, then proceed to show a dying penguin just to make Woody more terrified of his potential fate. How about Soul? This down-on-his-luck junior high band teacher finally gets his big break as a musician, and then you immediately throw everything at him. And by the end of the movie, you expect him to accept his death after you forced him into a journey he didn't ask for? How about the newest movie, Lightyear? That movie sucked onions, and it was like lacerations to my eye. Now, before we go on to the next crime scene, let's speak on the season of death itself, Halloween. Hallows Eve, or Halloween, is the eve of All Saints' Day, a day to remember martyrs and past relatives. In the Western culture, we celebrate Halloween by dressing up and going door to door asking for free food. Many also celebrate this season by watching horror movies, ranging from Stephen King classics to films that no one should ever watch. But perhaps we should add Pixar and Disney movies to that list, as Disney and Pixar have actually killed more in some of their G-rated children movies than in most of these R-rated horror movies. During this Halloween season, however, I'll be puzzled to find any of Pixar's latest characters as costumes, because in recent days, there's been something more scary than death happening in the world. Politics! And with that, there are many people on both sides who don't like some of the direction Disney and Pixar has been going. Is it because of the second scariest thing? Investors! Or is it just because humans are dumb? In this frightening world, you'll never know. But the numbers don't lie. Pixar is doing rather less than subpar. And finally, back to Coco, we are forced to endure the murder of El Unidad Absoluto que es Chicharron. Chicharron was brutally murdered, and for what? To show us how second death works in the land of the dead? To show us the fate of Hector if he doesn't get put on the ofrenda? To give Hector his own growth in the idea of mortality and the personal loss of a friend? No. They just wanted to murder Chicharron for their own enjoyment. Coco is filled with Pixar's brutality, the deaths of countless millions, the misdirection and death of loved ones, and the betrayal of friendships. However, as a story of Dia de los Muertos, We see the strong bond of these families follow them into the land of the dead, to show their love that extends beyond the mortal world and lasts unending into the afterlife. Halloween is a season that we've turned into a time for candy and cosplay, but we should look back on the true purpose of Halloween, a celebration of the dead and past relatives. Pixar is extremely murderous, but if no one ever dies, then there's really no reason to live. There's a message in Pixar. No matter how bad Pixar is nowadays, they still taught us to keep our planet healthy and live reasonably. They still taught us to have dreams and follow them at any cost. This Halloween, think about the death, more than usual, but don't be scared. Sometimes you need a massacre to live a dream. Man, I didn't even mention Up.